everyone. I'm Rebecca.
At Max.
And I'm the Spooky Hippie. Welcome to WoT the Adaptation. We're the show that reviews adaptations from one medium to another. Tonight, we review the sneak peek at Amazon Prime's The Wheel of Time. Max, you got the video ready for us?
I do.
Let's play it. Oh, wait a second there. Who's that?
Oh, pause.
That was good old Senbui
That was Sambui.
laughing.
Look at that pipe. Sambui happy? Wait a second. Okay. I don't know. I'm not used to Sambui with a smile on his face, but I'm sure it happens at some point.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. I wonder what he's got in that pipe. Maybe that's why.
So do you guys want to talk about just the atmosphere at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the Winespring Inn looks really cozy. I would definitely want to hang out in that tavern. That's for sure. It's the place to go on a dark and stormy night. That's for sure. Much better than staying home in your own thatched roof or wood tiled home. You know, I'd much rather be there than at home.
Okay. So I'm curious what you guys think. Like, I am kind of assuming, because it's super festive and busy in there, that this is either winter night or Valentine night, depending on which way they go with it, that this isn't just like an average night at the inn.
Definitely. Going by what Rafe had said that in a Q&A, I believe, we're supposed to see Valentine.
He did say that.
That's the day after winter night.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming this is going to be winter night, considering what we see coming up next, and with some of the publicity photos we've seen of Moiraine in Emmonsfield, or Two Rivers as they're calling it.
It seems like they're calling it Two Rivers, yeah.
In the daytime, so I'm assuming that would be the day after this. So that would be the same day, the day of the night that the attack happens. So the day before. So I'm assuming that tomorrow, this is being tonight, tomorrow is the day we're seeing those pictures of Moiraine walking around and looking at what's on, the garden and all that.
Good point. We do see her in daytime in the village. There are shots of that. Yeah, that's a good point.
What do you think, Max?
Very good possibility. This could be, any days leading up to it, but sounds like a very good theory.
So it kind of raises another question, okay, so we saw at the very beginning, it's storming right now, or it's
right,
thunder, lightning. And in the teaser trailer, when the Murdral is approaching the inn, it also appears to be thunder and lightning.
Oh, so, you mean that horse riding figure that's riding by itself?
Oh, yeah, that's
you
a good
see it
point.
From the back? That's not a Murdral.
Could be Lan.
That's Lan or Moiraine. It's one of the two of them.
Good point. Because then it cuts immediately to the Murdral, but that could be tricky editing.
Right.
Good point.
And I think the reason why they're on the Winespring is because it's raining. They're celebrating winter night, which they would normally be celebrating outside, but because it's a storm, they've all gone to the one place they can all fit, the Winespring Inn.
Okay. So if this is winter night, then we get the next day of stuff happening in the village, and Beltane, basically, and then the attack happens the night of Beltane. Is that what we think?
That's okay. Because Rafe did say we're going to see Beltane, so I'm assuming. I mean, we've seen the concept art of all the lights, the lanterns, paper lanterns all set up, and then we've seen shots of that early shot of Moiraine, and you could see the lanterns in behind her. At least it looked like there was a lot of lanterns behind her. Not yet fire, but lanterns. And
Right. No,
I
that's a
think
really
that
good point
ties in.
because it's raining right now. So if it's raining right now, we don't get that outside. Everybody's, partying in the, where they do the dancing in
Right.
the teaser trailer, and that's probably when we have like the festival lanterns and everything that we've seen in the concept art. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
No, this is
that's
all
tomorrow night.
okay. It's piecing together. It's making sense to me.
DJ Max, play. He looks so obsessed.
Yep. All right, maybe we should pause here. So yeah, what you said about him being obsessed, like, yeah, there's vibes, not just in this, but in other things we've seen of like Rand and Egwene, where like he seems totally in love and she seems a little conflicted. What do you guys think about that?
I would think he just got the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Um,
But then there's that picture of them next to the horses.
that's the
And
one. Yep. Mhm.
she's so in love in that picture. Just
Yes.
or it's maybe not in love, but she so loves him.
Yes.
I that could be maybe not a romantic love the way she's holding his face. It could be any kind of love, but it's very clear she loves him dearly with that picture.
Oh, I totally agree about that one. That is the one picture that I think where they're both there in it completely, whatever. Like there's very strong feelings from both of them. But so like with Egwene, you see kind of like the different sides of it. Like clearly she does love him, but then there's other feelings that she has too. So like maybe she just has a lot on her mind. She just presumably been through this whole ceremony that we saw in the teaser trailer,
Yeah.
getting shoved off a cliff and whatnot. So she's got stuff on her mind.
And she's got half the village to wait on right now, too.
Yeah.
I've waited tables. I know how busy that can be.
Yeah. So Rand seems to have a kind of a singular focus on Egwene at this moment, and she has got a lot on her mind.
Yeah.
Presumably he's just been herding sheep all day.
Mhm.
He's been eating off a cliff.
No,
Has to wait some tables.
I got the impression with the teaser trailer and then this clip that he's been at the inn or in town or in the village all day.
Yeah.
My impression, my prediction, him and Tam came into town that morning, delivered all their goods, and have stayed there throughout the day. To stay there for bell time or for winter night, and their plan is to stay overnight in town, partially because it's storm and they didn't want to go back into town and back home in the storm, and that they were going to go home tomorrow.
Okay.
So in the From the Two Rivers, the new prequel they had back in like 2000 something, they kind of did more of what was going on during the day that we didn't get in regular book. And like a lot of it was all the men and women were shearing the sheep. Well, them being sheep herders, they had to bring them to town.
Oh.
So it's going to be an all-day event, theoretically.
Yeah, I think that's a good point about them potentially spending the night at the Winespring, because if we think again back to the teaser trailer and we had that little scene of Rand and Egwene looking very intimate, I mean, I feel like that was in the Winespring. So I'm just going to go ahead and guess that tonight, after everyone else has, gone to sleep, they have other things on their mind. Yeah, that's
mighty risky.
Very.
Yeah. I mean, Bran Oliver, he's there under that roof, and I don't think he's as slow moving as he is in the books.
No, Bran in the show looks like you wouldn't want to mess with him. He looks fit. Come down into the common room in the middle of the night, find your daughter.
Don't know, actually. We haven't talked yet. I'm sure she's just busy. Yeah. I'm sure.
I like the accent. Oh, wait. Listen to this. Rewind it a little bit.
Oh.
I want to hear that. The boots. I want to hear the.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm sure.
Oh, are you talking about the spurs sound?
Yeah, Boba Fett just entered the house, the inn.
All right.
Spurs, but no. The sounds of spurs, but no spurs on the boots.
That's a good call. Yeah, like that's one of those sound effect things.
Yeah.
It's actually his coin purse. It is
Oh.
loaded.
Oh, okay. Good answer.
But
yeah,
going back to what you said about the accents, like, yeah, actually something I noticed in general, like I think all the accents sound really good. You noticed it when they were talking in the panel, because of course they all have different accents, but I think it's pretty nice and consistent in the scene.
I'm actually really happy with Yosha's accent,
Mm-hmm.
because it's harder, it seems, for Danes and Dutch people and Germans to change their accent to something that doesn't sound Dutch, Germanic, that doesn't have that Germanic sound to it. And he managed to pull it off.
Okay. So going kind of on the Spurs thing, and just basically like Land's entrance. I feel like some people, like some reactions I saw to this were like, oh my God, it's so dramatic. Like, that people thought it was overly dramatic. Any like thoughts from you guys on that?
No.
I would say we're lacking context.
Yeah.
I think the people in the end made it dramatic, but I don't think Land made it dramatic.
Yeah. So one, I building off the idea of we're lacking context, and going back to something we said before about how that we see that shot in the trailer of a dark figure on horseback that's approaching the inn, and it's lightning, and we think now that that's actually Lan. What if there's been rumors in the village about like this, mysterious dark hooded figure, and then we see that shot, and then we go cut into the inn, and then Lan comes in and he's still got that hood down. Like, is all of that to be suggesting to the audience that this might be not a man but a Myrddraal? Maybe that's some of the context that we're missing here, and why
that might be
this. They have, like, we see just the boots, we see presumably maybe we see that dark figure, and he comes in and the hood is down for kind of a long period of time.
We know from the original book that, Rand coming into town saw the hooded figure. Perrin saw the hooded figure, and Matt saw the hooded figure.
Right.
And we don't know if, 3 minutes prior to this, they kind of do little snapshots between three kids.
Know who he is there. Yeah.
I think a couple other boys saw it too.
It's possible. Yep.
Yeah.
But the only ones who were talking about it was the village council. Do you think Nynaeve would have heard about it? Because she's the one who got up in his face.
Also, in one of these shots that we've seen up till now, like, it kind of looks like there's like a group of women sitting at a table. So it could be that the women's circle are discussing these rumors. I did kind of get the feeling that they might be discussing something, even though it's like a festive atmosphere. Like, maybe they have women's circle business they're attending to. So
I
that
stay
could be
out of
it.
women's circle business.
I mean,
Smart.
that might have been the men's and women's circle on two different tables there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, isn't Sen Bui in the village council? Am I making that up?
I want to say
think he was.
Yeah, because he doesn't seem to be doing anything business-like. He's off there smoking and having a good time.
Exactly.
But Tam looked serious. So maybe he's like, talking about it. But I could definitely see the women's circle talking about it. And maybe that is why Nynaeve is like particularly on edge and is like, who are you? Yeah, see, like, we don't, know who he is there. Yeah.
Name yourself, stranger.
Lan Mondragoran. This is my reign.
Moy ring. No. It'll get corrected in a moment here.
But yeah, it's not everyone says that, and even we're not watching it now, but like in the panel that this came from, like I feel like Rosamund Pike says it correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Notice that was the first time we saw Lan's thing.
Hidori. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hidori.
Big thing fans were asking for, and we finally got it. Still missing Moraine's.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing we're only going to see her wear it in Tarvalin. Like she's probably
dressing nice.
Yeah, like when she's like dressing up, or like when she's around other Aes Sedai.
And of course, we saw Nynaeve being very fierce there.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, I love it. Like Nynaeve like reacts like instantaneously. She's on her feet before anyone else. She takes it upon herself to like, stand up for everyone in the room. She's very Mama Bear in that, but that's very Nynaeve. So it's perfect for her. Even like leaving aside, we don't know if those rumors are part of it. That would just add to it, but I think it would be relevant anyway for Nynaeve.
Egwene looks a little unimpressed.
You think so? But the other thing that I wondered about, this was more for Nynaeve than for Egwene, but like another thing that Nynaeve, could have potentially have sensed, is Moraine's ability to channel. She wouldn't realize that that's what she was sensing, but she might, sort of be aware of her a little bit before anybody appears. And I don't know, Egwene probably wouldn't be able to, though. I mean, unless they're changing that where she's further along. I don't think Egwene would be able to.
This early.
Yeah. No.
Definitely a good theory there. Might put her on edge, feeling something.
Yeah, or it just allows her to react quicker, because she was sort of sensing something before the door even opened, maybe. And then so like the second the door starts to open, she's ready to go.
There's also the weather side of things for Nynaeve.
True.
She's supposed to be able to predict the weather pretty well, and if this rain is unexpected.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
She's already mad. Be a sunny day and it's raining. Oh.
Yeah, that would definitely set her off.
My lady, can I help you? We'll need stables.
I love that.
And a room for the night. 2 beds and fresh linen, that's all we need. Of course, Moraine Sedai.
Pause it there. I got a question. How would Marin know to pronounce it correctly when she just heard it pronounced incorrectly?
I'm putting it down to different accents. That Daniel Henney or Lan has a different accent than the Two Rivers characters, and that's why there's a difference in pronunciation.
Okay,
that's what I'm putting it down to.
That just seemed a little strange. And what was Moraine doing there? Was she holding the end of her hair? I couldn't.
It's sort of like in her finger a little bit, like.
So she was kind of like flashing the ring, or was.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's very clearly like showing the ring. I don't know why she seems to have a little bit of hair in her finger. It sort of just seems like it's kind of caught there a little bit inadvertently. Like I don't know if she's like just sort of brushing it.
That shot really confused me.
I would bet you anything that it's the angle of it, and probably Rosamund Pike is, as an actress, going, okay, well, what kind of movement can I use to make me showing my ring seem a little bit more natural? And it could be like moving her hair aside, and then she just has a little bit of hair caught in her finger. I mean, obviously the real purpose is to show the ring, but I'm guessing that Rosamund Pike is thinking, what can I do that makes this look a little bit more natural? So she's like moving her hair as she does it. I'm guessing.
Yeah, just the choice of shots confused me. I'm trying to figure out the blocking of how that worked.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't picture it in my head. That's why I asked what you guys thought it was.
Yeah. But I just wanted to say also, like, I love she just walks right by Nynaeve, and Nynaeve is like, just.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it fits in the stuff from the books of like, her overlooking Nynaeve because Nynaeve looks too young. to be an authority figure.
Yeah, I'm circling it there. Just saw these
Nice.
4 or 5 bones.
But Matt's got other priorities.
Another
Yeah.
interesting thing is some kind of
I need
jewelry
to-
there.
Oh man, I can't really make that out.
Yeah, it's very faint.
But I noticed in general, like lots of people seem to be wearing jewelry. I don't know if that's just because it's like festival time, but like
Mhm.
there, lots of people have rings on, earrings, like, it seems to be fairly common.
I like that fireplace.
Oh yeah. So
That's
she
what you
just
call a
goes
hearth.
right to each of them in turn, right? She goes to Matt right away.
Yeah. You notice Matt's wearing the same outfit you see him walking across that hill in the Magnificent Seven shot.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a lot of different clothes. So it was just pause. So she goes to Matt, to Nynaeve, to Egwene, and then without a shift in the camera, it just changes focus. And behind Egwene is Rand and Perrin.
Yeah.
So she just is immediately looking at the people that are relevant.
Saw this one thing someone mentioned about Matt. All the women kind of just like looks directly at Moraine, but Matt kind of looked at her, then looked down and back up again.
Ah. Oh
Let's see that.
gosh. Let's go see that.
Is Matt hitting on her?
I mean, he's just
Checking her out.
looking, just checking out.
Or is she waiting tables and serving him? Oh, nope, she's got a drink.
It's very subtle. Oh, you're talking about this woman here, Danya,
Yeah.
or whatever her name is going to be. I'm sure they're flirting. Look, they're standing close to each other. This has got to be like a little flirtation here.
So, Matt looking
Philip.
at Moraine. He did a little
Right.
eye flick.
A little eye
Yep.
flick. Very, very subtle. I like that. Of course he would. She's an attractive woman who just walks in the door. Of course he would.
That's
And
Matt.
then you get the boys.
She's still got both hands on her belt
She
knife.
has not let go of that knife.
And then you watch their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of like keep eye contact or look away like, oh,
Yeah,
crap.
they're not checking her out. Yeah, no. So, I mean, I don't know. I love this. I feel like it communicates quite a lot without saying a lot and without needing a lot of time.
If you'll come this way.
I wonder, it's like, who's she looking at there at the end? It's like she gives a glance to someone. I wonder I guess it could be Lan. I don't know where he's standing. Oh no, he's behind her. So no, it's not Lan.
Let's see.
So I'm going to say something that's going to surprise everybody who watched our last video.
Okay.
I like this.
Yeah.
100% all the little changes they made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly fine with every little bit, except for the ring. I still don't like the Aes Sedai rings.
Okay.
I really don't like the design of those rings, but every little bit of change they did exactly what they need to do to introduce Lan and Moraine fast. They sped it up, they condensed it, and that's exactly what you have to do to shrink it down to make a television show that's going to have 8 episodes per season for 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Or 6 seasons, whatever it is, 6 or 8 seasons. They don't have a lot of time to tell this massive story. They have to shrink it down, and this condensed how many chapters? I mean,
so if we're right about like the next day being Beltane, and we get to see some of that, and we get to see Moraine and Lamb interacting in the village during the day before the Trolloc attack at night, then we'll get more. So some of that stuff from those other chapters could be pulled in there. But what it does is it really gives like an entrance that you're not going to forget, because the truth is, in the book, we don't see them when they first appear. Like, we hear about them. Rand hears that there's, a lady and
strangers in
the town. And so he's like absorbing some of the secondhand knowledge about them. And then they meet them outside the inn, and it's not very dramatic, so this is like a memorable entrance. And then we'll get some of that other background kind of stuff filled in, but the next day. So I like it a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, I'd still want to see the whole episode.
Of
Oh, yeah,
course.
definitely. And
course.
I'm also hoping it means we don't have to deal with Ewan Fingar.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just
Why
recently
would we? Yeah.
yeah, I recently listened to I was listening to the audiobook
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my God, I had forgotten how annoying that kid is. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to see him on screen. He's
Yeah.
gonna be like this annoying 14-year-old that, you just want to chuck in the river.
Mhm.
I mean, give him to Tigraine, let her eat him.
Yeet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that certainly there's a lot of that kind of stuff that can be cut out. I mean, okay, and if we think about the books too, like a lot of these chapters, they're like there's a chapter, I forget which order they're in, but there's like the Gleeman, the Peddler, the Strangers, all of those chapters kind of introducing these different people. Well, we're not going to have a Gleeman, so that whole bit is
Yeah.
gone. I mean, we do, but not here. And
Still disappointed about that, but
I know, me too, but it's okay. But yes, that is a bit disappointing. Pat and Thane might be coming tomorrow too. Like he may not be there yet. I don't see him here.
no, but it is dark and we don't see everybody at all the tables. So
Yeah, he could be there already, but it could also maybe make sense to have him appear the next day, perhaps. Because again, if we're right about when the Trolloc attack happens, then him appearing the day that they attack and then they attack that night, that kind of ties it in more.
right. That makes more sense.
The scene I paused it here on is the opposite view of where Moraine was standing.
Okay.
So she would be towards the left of your screen. Simply
Okay.
the fireplace is there.
Yeah.
Because when we were looking the other way, we're looking at him.
Yeah.
From the other direction.
Okay.
So yeah, she was eyeing up Rander Perrin.
Yeah. Yeah. Most likely. Yeah.
Tam's got a long pipe too.
Yeah, that seems to be the style.
Yep.
I know Twitter mentioned this stone board down here.
Stone board. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, there's so much little detail. The scene definitely feels really rich with detail.
And I like the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
People were complaining it was too dark when we watched her in the panel, but that was it was a feed through two different sources before it got to the internet. So it just got really dark. The image quality was degraded.
Yeah.
But this is
no, it's
I think that's entirely diegetic lighting. I don't think they've got any extra lighting in there outside of the lamps and the candles. I think that's all the lighting from just what you see on screen.
But they are managing to, allow us to see what's going on, even though it is a dark scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's well done.
I was noticing the engraving on the wood columns.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Even just like in terms of being able to visualize something. I mean that's something that if lighting were not done properly in this shot, you wouldn't be able to see that. You wouldn't be able to get much of Egwene's expression, let alone that kind of detail. So.
Sin Buey looks like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings there.
He's having a good
time.
time.
Natural.
Bet those are Coplans and Congars there with him.
For sure.
They got stained glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's stained glass back there.
Yeah, there's definitely like a rich quality to this building relative to the village for sure. But it's supposed to be a very old building, so.
Well, remember, he did have like 3 books, so he's pretty well off.
Oof, yeah, good point.
Oh, he had more than that. But Egwene is the head mean girl. Her dad is the richest man in town.
She is.
I definitely approve of the changes we've seen in this clip for the introduction of Lan and Moiraine, except for Lan's mispronunciation of Moiraine. He's been traveling with her for 20 years. He should have learned how to say Moiraine.
We'll just call it a borderland accent for now and cut him some slack.
Yeah, but the accents don't change the pronunciation that much.
I can.
You can get vowels correct, moi is different than moi. That's like totally different letters there. But
All right, here's one for you. Pronounce bag,
bay,
Now, bag?
like a grocery bag.
Oh,
bag.
bag. Bag.
Exactly.
bag.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Bag and big.
Mm-hmm. That's Midwest versus not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Midwest, Northeast.
Yeah.
The other possibility is that, we've theorized before, maybe this women's circle and their ceremonies might have something to do with the one power.
Mm-hmm.
They might be introducing the kin a little earlier,
Oh.
more
Ooh.
threaded throughout.
Interesting.
So Nynaeve may already know what she can do, but not necessarily know.
Hmm.
And her
Interesting.
feeling Moraine come, and they know that these society like to steal women away that can channel.
Mm-hmm.
She's now going to be protective to get Egwene not to go to the tower.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think we'll see some like distrustful feelings towards Aes Sedai, like among some of the characters anyway. Maybe not all of them, but definitely some of them. I think that makes sense. And it would be interesting if they do have somewhat more knowledge. I mean, even if it isn't the kin direction, which is interesting, just the idea that like the women's circle ceremony might incorporate some of this, allusions to the Aes Sedai might be interesting. There's that you see the sort of influence that they have in cultures throughout the world, even when they're pretty far removed.
Maybe if there's not kin currently in the women's circle in Emmonsfield or the Two Rivers, maybe in the past there was. And maybe that's why the ceremony is set up the way it is with the paints, the dye and the water.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where those colors came, why those particular paint colors are used, is because maybe 100 years ago, 200 years ago, there was a kin member
Yeah.
who
Though the
lived in
interest,
Two Rivers as the wisdom and introduced, hey, let's do this.
interesting thing about the kin in the books is
died
like, yeah,
and moved on.
they try to hide, like they try to hide any connection to the tower and not draw attention to themselves. So, I mean, it would almost, well, who knows?
Maybe she didn't, but maybe she didn't, pass it off as that. Maybe she just passed it off as like, didn't explain why she did it that way. When she put, she introduced the ceremony, however long ago.
I almost guarantee you the colors are going to match the same, ribbons they have around those poles that they dance around. 100% guarantee they're going to be the same colors.
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah.
And
so we'll see that in the next day of the Beltane festivals. That'll be cool.
And
that's a good
I wouldn't doubt if the women's circle is kind of like the Alewise ones. Like it's just part of the culture, kind of ingrained. Maybe back in Manetheren, slowly up to Two Rivers culture, just kind of kept some of the same type of stuff there.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the best idea. There is that some of these callbacks could come from Manetheren, and they don't even really remember why they do it anymore. But it's something that has kind of passed down from that time.
That would make sense too.
And whether Nynaeve actually knows she can channel, or she does or doesn't, or has an inkling that she can but doesn't have a real name for it.
I hope she doesn't know, because that's
I like it when she finds out.
Major doesn't.
Yeah,
that's a
I
big
like it when she
change for her
finds out.
to know, because she has to reject the idea that she can channel for a while, because she does in the book, and I like that about her.
Also, I was just going to say, it plays into the fact that she has a block. Like, why does she have a block in the first place? Because she doesn't know that she can channel. So if she does know, she might be less likely to have a block. So it would be a very big change to not have that.
So Rafe had said something along the lines of, they have a different name for the same thing, and that thing is called the One Power.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's in the trailer. Maureen's voiceover that talks about throughout the world, it
Yep.
goes by many names, but it's all one thing, one power. Yeah.
So, Nynaeve calls it, was it
Listening to
something-
the wind.
listening to the wind?
Yeah.
So, she may not know what she's doing,
Mhm.
but she might have something and she recognizes that Egwene has it.
Yeah.
And they
I
might
think
believe. Yeah.
that
No,
seems
yeah,
like canon. I mean, like,
Yeah.
right? Like, because
Yeah.
Nynaeve
what
knows that
Maureen
she can
says.
do it, and she senses that Egwene would be able to as well. So yeah, I think definitely.
And if they know what Asadi are, like they seem to actually know more about them now,
Mhm.
maybe they know that Asadi like to take their wind talkers away. Or wind
Maybe.
listeners.
Maybe. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We can at least say that Lan pronounced his name correctly. There was no Lon.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
not Lon Mondragon.
Oh man, when he said that in that interview, oh man, the internet exploded. Twitter at time went nuts. I could not believe it.
Oh. As a community, we could send Daniel a bunch of little tiny lawnmowers.
Gotta get little tiny lawnmowers though. That's not so easy to come by.
They're like Hot Wheels or something.
Maybe.
Again, I was really happy with this clip. I like the way they've shortened everything and they've sped up. It's exactly what you need to do with a television adaptation when you've got limited time and you've got an overextended series to try to crunch into that limited time. They did what Robert Jordan and Harriet couldn't do. They edited it.
No, I definitely love this clip. I think that what's great is that there's so many elements that you can say are pulled from the books, like so many details that, I mean, it's not exactly the way it plays out, of course, but like there's so many things that you can look at and go, well, this comes from the book. It represents something in the book that we learn from it. And it's very, very detailed, very, very rich, and it makes me want to see more. And we learn a lot about the characters. I think it communicates a lot about each of the characters in a very tight window of time. So very well done.
I enjoyed it. I definitely want to see more. Can't wait till November. And this is WoT an Adaptation. Don't forget, like, subscribe, unless you're a dark friend.
And even if you are a dark friend, please
Yeah,
subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe, like anyway.